Listeners, beware! You're in for a scare!
Howdy, folks. Welcome to Nightmare on Fear Street, an R.L. Stine podcast, and I'm your spooky host, Zach.
And I'm your other spooky host, Meg.
And this week, I don't know, I think we got super down and dirty in the trick-or-treating, because we read The Haunted Mask.
Yeah, because there's no better time to do trick-or-treating than in January.
Well, I mean, every day is just Halloween. It's just a couple extra steps.
Yeah, every day is Halloween.
I mean, 10 seconds after, Haunted Mask, it became the Christmas mask.
There's almost, no point in Halloween existing. I think it should just be year-round. Just every day should be Halloween.
Well, to be fair, Meg, every day is Halloween to us.
Yes.
Halloween isn't special to me anymore because
it
every day
no.
is Halloween.
And I've said this many times. It's, the reason that I don't celebrate Halloween. I don't know. I've been getting into it more the past couple of years, but, when I was a kid, I used to be really bummed out that people didn't, do anything for Halloween, because, when we lived in the States, it was you got to wear your costume to school. That was bonkers.
So, Meg, how was your spooky week?
I don't know if I did anything of note this week. I went to go see The Greatest Showman, which is an excellent movie.
I thought it was okay.
Starring hometown hero Hugh Jackman. It's not Oscar worthy at all. It's just kind of a stupid fun movie that you go to get pumped up and listen to music. It's a lot like Moulin Rouge in that way. It's just you go to see the costumes, you go to listen to the music, you go for the spectacle. In that way, it is very much like going to the circus.
I don't know. I look at circuses a little differently than most people.
I love circuses. I love circuses. I love freak shows. I love anything. I love clowns.
Meg, you're in the minority right now. This is kind of scary.
I actually did. When I was in college, I was actually a member of the Circus Society, and I learned how to do fire staff twirling, which is a hobby that I desperately want to go back into. And Giggles the Clown is my role model. She is everything to me. Also, Eric Sprague, the Lizard Man, he has been life goals for me since I was about 10. I saw a picture of him in a Ripley's Believe It or Not book with his, scale tattoos and his artificially pointed teeth and his split tongue and his, bony eyebrow ridges. I looked at that picture and I was like, I want to grow up to be this.
That is, the most adorable story I've heard this month.
Yeah. And shout out to my friend Izzy, who actually, went to one of his events in St. Louis. Either she went or her friend went for her, and got me a signed postcard with a picture of him on it. And it's up on my wall. I have, a section of my wall where I just stick up postcards and ticket stubs and other important things that I have. And it's right at the top because I'm very, very proud of it. I'm very, very happy about it. One day, when I have enough money, I may actually get a tongue split because I'm a freak. So anyway, I'm obsessed with circuses, clowns, sideshow freaks, juggling, acrobats, everything. Every single time that the circus, the Weber's Circus comes to my town, I go every year without fail. So yeah, my week was fine. I went to see The Greatest Showman. I had Korean fried chicken for the first time. I know, I've lived under a rock forever. I had never eaten Korean fried chicken until this weekend. And it's everything that I wanted and more. I came home and I listened to the Triple J Hottest 100 countdown. And if you don't live in Australia, we have a grand yearly tradition in this country of Triple J, which is a national radio station. It's sort of the cool, hip, young person radio station, arm of ABC Radio, which is the national... you can probably guess it stands for the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. So it's sort of the BBC or PBS is in the States and in the UK respectively. Yeah, but every year they do a countdown of the people vote in their favorite songs of the year, and then they do a countdown either on Australia Day or on the weekend of Australia Day. They do a countdown of the 100 best songs as voted by the people of Australia. And it's sort of like a tradition. If you're an Australian, you stop whatever you're doing, you turn on the radio, and everybody gathers around to see if any of the songs that you picked.
What was number one?
Number one was Humble by Kendrick Lamar, which I had literally never heard before it was on the number one, so I was quite confused by that.
They play that every day on the radio, yeah.
Yeah, if it was so popular, I would have thought that I would have heard it a couple more times than what I did. I think I have never heard it before. I heard all of his other songs that were in it, like Loyalty and, I don't know. So the funniest thing was somebody called in to the station to say that they were in the Himalayas, and they had found the only Wi-Fi hotspot in the entire village, and it was 4 o'clock in the morning, Nepal time, and they had used the only Wi-Fi in the entire village to listen to the countdown. If you want to know what Australian people are like, that's what they're like. Australians stand very hard for this particular radio station. A lot of them do. So, Zach, how was your spooky week?
It was super spooky. I watched a lot of bad movies. Oh my god, did I watch a lot of bad movies. I've, still getting over being sick, so I haven't been using my voice as much. So when I can't use my voice, I just watch a lot of stuff. So I watched a lot of terrible American 80s action movies. And my god.
Oh no.
I've never seen so many cars explode and pointless nothing happen. Oh. I think my favorite, though, and I watched out of all of them, was Samurai Cop.
That movie's a classic.
It's a classic. Oh my, it was a classic.
That's a beautiful film.
Other than that, I saw Terror in Beverly Hills, and then it's really bad. Don't watch it.
I won't. I had no plans to.
There's some charm to it, and then I watched Rotor. Oh my god, this is like the best movie in the whole world.
What is that? There's a ride at Luna Park called Rotor.
Are you being serious?
So, yeah, now I'm imagining just like, you know how they made all those movies of like the Haunted Mansion and the Country Bears and stuff?
Yeah.
And the Tower of Terror? Now I'm just imagining like this summer coming to theaters. It's like the movie version of this theme park ride, which is basically just like one of those G-force simulators. Like you get in and it goes around so fast that you get flung up against the wall and you stick there.
The best way to put this, Meg, is think of all the clever things about RoboCop and Terminator and then throw them out the window.
Oh no, it's one of those.
I think Meg, it's on my Twitter, I know, but look up Rotor Police Robot and you'll see the most adorable robot in the whole goddamn world.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
No, look it up. Look it up.
The film has been described as a low-budget copy of Terminator and RoboCop with some elements of Judge Dredd, and you're right, he is adorable. He looks like,
Meg, okay, for our listeners, why don't you describe this adorable robot?
Okay, so, you guys remember the Nunu from Teletubbies? He looks a little bit like that. Not a lot, but, like, I am getting serious, like, Teletubbies vibes from him because he has this, like, dryer duct neck and this very cylindrical body, and his head is shaped like, sort of like an inverted cone, and his face is just, like, little blinky dots, and he looks kind of like he's got sleepy eyes and little blushy cheeks and tiny little blue eyebrows. And,
but what is the best part about this robot, Meg?
He has a little police hat on. He has this adorable little police hat on his head. And I love him, and he's my son now.
He is the most sarcastic robot in this movie.
Bless.
When Rotor comes out like he's the bad robot, you know what the first thing that police robot does?
What does he do?
He resigns.
Oh, I love him. I
am putting in my letter of resignation.
I love him. He's very good. He's a good friend.
So if you haven't watched Rotor, just find this movie.
He's a friend.
He's your friend?
He's your friend. He's my friend.
Other than that, we read The Haunted Mask.
Ah, yes, we did. And honestly, this was a joy. This book was a joy.
I forgot how much fun this book was. I haven't read this book in at least a good solid decade.
It's a great story. I feel like, the next book that we're going to read from the Goosebumps series, I think the one after this is Be Careful What You Wish For, which is my favorite of all time. This is a good, lead into it because, it has a lot of similar plot elements. This was, R.L. Stine warming up to write his greatest ever. in my opinion, anyway.
Fun fact, Meg, actually R.L. Stein says in several interviews that The Haunted Mask actually is his favorite book that he's ever written, and he's the most proud of this one.
I mean, it's a great book. It is so much fun, and it's such just like it's such like a nice book as well. Some of the Goosebumps books are a little bit like mean. This one is like scary without being like without ever making you think like, oh no, this is horrible and it's happening to children. And R.L. Stein, are you okay?
I think the best way to put it, Meg, is it is like the companion piece to The Halloween Tree written by Ray Bradbury.
Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like this is one that I'll probably break out on Halloween next year. Or this year, I mean. Forgot what year it was for a second, because time's not real.
I mean, it really gets you into the Halloween spirit even when it's not Halloween.
Yeah, like, this book had me craving a pumpkin spice latte and, like, a ride on the hay bale truck and like, carving jack-o'-lanterns. And you know what? Because it is gonna be autumn here soon, I might do a little Halloween in March.
Halloween in March? That sounds amazing. I kept thinking about this entire time reading this, just thinking about all the kiddie Halloweens I had and all the costumes and all the candy. And, oh man, just thinking about the real trick-or-treat. So Meg, why don't we describe this cover?
Alright, so, once again, this is a Goosebumps book. I have the noughties cover, he has the 90s cover, and honestly, I think mine is, like, composition-wise, it's very good, but the art style is, it doesn't work as a Goosebumps cover, but, like, as a piece of artwork on its own, it could be very good. Because I remember the classic, like, banger of a cover that this book had in the 90s. So, do you want to go ahead and describe yours first? The original and the best?
I think, yeah, so Tim Jacobus did this one, and I think it is one of his masterpieces. So, Tim, this is, like, one of your masterpieces, so
yes.
Be happy. It is. I think the best way to put it is the background is all like neon purple, darkish purple, and there's this girl. She's center of frame, and she's wearing overalls and a like I guess how I describe it is like Barney purple, and she's holding up the creepiest, coolest mask in the world. It's neon green. It's got big old pointy teeth, and it's got glowing like ember eyes. And it is really terrifying, and I just love it just because it's self-explanatory. It is a haunted mask, and you could just take one look at this and say, yep, that mask is undoubtedly haunted.
Yeah, and its mouth is, like, open and scary.
It's drooling, and it's so striking. Like, you can see it from 1,000 miles away and still be creeped out from it.
This is me doing, like, a chef kiss, like, mwah.
Magnifique.
That's my reaction. Magnifique.
And then the tagline to this book is, if looks could kill, ... That
was the most dramatic ellipses you've ever said. Like, I don't think you've ever put more energy into saying ... in your life.
I don't know, maybe.
That was like an A+ dramatic ellipses right there.
Thank you.
Anyway, so I'm going to talk about my cover, which is like I said, I would buy this as like a print, but I don't like it as a book cover. Because it's very cool looking, but it's kind of, like, lame as well for a book cover. It's not, like, it doesn't draw your eye in immediately. It's very red.
Is it the one with it's like far off and there's the kids and the haunted mask chase?
Yes.
Yeah,
okay, so I like this. I like this as a composition, not as a book cover. Like, your book, the 90s one, it's got the haunted mask front and center. You know what this book is about. You know what the haunted mask is. You know that it's haunted. You know that it's a mask because you see it. It's right there. But this one, it's like you've got two kids. It's very washed out and red, and it's very monochromatic, which I think is very cool. It's very creepy looking. And so you've got two kids walking down the street with their the bags of sweets, and it's they're dressed up. One's a clown, and one's like a detective or like the Green Hornet or something. And they're walking down the street casually, and then behind them is, I guess it's supposed to be Carly Beth, but it's a very androgynous looking child. Like, the clothing that she's wearing in this is just like jeans and a t-shirt and shoes, and it could be a boy or a girl, honestly. Which is, like, I kind of liked the dress that they put on the haunted mask in the movie. It was a good look. It was a look. So, like, Carly Beth is sneaking up on them. She's got her fingers all, like, spooky like. And the
Ooh,
one
I'm
like
gonna get you.
the one pop of color on this is the mask that she's wearing and like the glowing eyes on it that are illuminating the rest of the face. And now this is a very creepy piece of artwork, but it takes you a while to figure out like where the haunted mask is because it does sort of like blend into the background a lot. Even though the green sort of pops out, it's not bright enough. So it is kind of washed out. So it's like, oh, what's this? What's going on here? Like, if this was a book with illustrations on the inside, I would like this as like a full page spread. And then like just a picture of the haunted mask on the cover.
I mean, it does tell like a little story, but I don't know, it's just the 90s. The 90s is where it's at.
I was thinking about this, like, everything in the 90s, like, in the 90s, people were not afraid to be disgusting. It was the age of Gak. It was the age of Beavis and Butthead and Ren and Stimpy.
Don't you mean Nickelodeon slime and, like, oh my god, like, was it not Double Down? Is that, no.
Double Dare. Double Dare was the one with the slime. Yeah. It was the age of, like, it was the age of slimy stuff and gross-looking stuff and, like, really, really ugly art styles for things. Like, when you look back at the art style of the Wild Thornberrys, those characters were weird-looking. But I loved it when I was a kid. And, like, Gary Baseman and, who were the other artists? Like, Mambo was big in the 90s with, like, the farting dogs and stuff. And that was, like, nobody was afraid to be gross in the 90s. And, like, the haunted mask on the original cover is genuinely very disturbing and scary looking. Like, it's got these just gnarly teeth.
Well, I mean, in the context of the book, it makes total sense.
Yeah, it does. And it's like, they're interesting to look at, and they're well put together, but they are not scary. They are, like, they've toned it down a lot. Like, you look at the, just to take this, like, far, far into the future, if you look at the covers of The Horror of Camp Jelly Jam, if you look at the original one with the camp counselor and he's, like, got his hands on his hips and he's, like, he's smiling really weirdly, like, and it's got this kind of, like, distressing, kind of realistic quality to it, and it's like, oh, this guy is weird, I don't like him, this is scary. And then the cover of The Horror of Camp Jelly Jam, the reprint version, is King Jelly Jam himself, and he's adorable. He looks like a blob of grape jam with a little crown and snails coming off him, and he's adorable. And that ruins it for me.
That's like Meg's new pet.
It's my new pet. He, like, Rotor, the robot from Rotor is my son, but then King Jelly Jam is also my son. And, yeah, like, everything on these new Goosebumps covers, they're too clean, they're too cute. And I think it's like, I don't know, it's sort of like, we did a lot of, not to get too art student-y here, because this is not the art theory podcast, but, like, in my introduction to postmodern art theory when I was in college, the general consensus is that postmodernism got killed by 9/11, and then 9/11 happened, and now it's neo-modernism, because aesthetically we've sort of gone back in time to, like, what was considered, like, artistically interesting in the 60s and the 50s. You know, like, there's been a revival of modernist architecture, revival of, like, 50s aesthetics, and everything since sort of like the 50s through the 80s, where everything was kind of like clean and bright colors, and like, and then the 90s was just like dark and gross. And there was a lot of neon in the 90s, but there was also like a lot of like scribbly, vomity stuff going on. Particularly with like cartoons and fashion, because like that was the grunge era. Everybody was coming down off that cocaine high from the 80s.
They're just like, oh no.
And now everything is just like, oh, it has to be like clean, you know, like perfect makeup is like perfect contour, perfect winged eyeliner. Your hair has to be like perfectly straight hair.
Then we look at animation, Meg, and it's just like we just gave up.
Yeah, we just gave up on animation. Every single animated character looks the same now.
Yeah, no, it's just like
they how all can we look make exactly the same.
50
Let's
cents.
take the 3D model, copy it, reuse it for every single movie. I'm so angry.
There's so, like, isn't it like the DreamWorks pose? Like, everyone just looks the same.
It's the DreamWorks face and, like, the Disney face and, like,
The Disney eyes.
The Disney eyes, and it's like, what's her name from Tangled onwards has looked exactly the same to me. I cannot tell them apart except for their outfits. It's like anime. This is what happens when you give weebs jobs. They ruin things.
That's a hard stance.
Well, it's true. Like, all anime characters kind of look the same except for their outfits.
But really, Meg, you have to be face to face with a nightmare. Oh no.
On Fear Street.
How ugly is Carly Beth's Halloween mask? Is it so ugly that it almost scared her little brother to death? It's the best Halloween mask ever. It's everything Carly Beth hoped it would be, and more. Maybe too much more, because Halloween's almost over, and Carly Beth's still wearing that special mask. ...
Oh, I think you beat yourself on the dramatic ellipses. And I've just got to say, I've got to point this out.
Yes, Meg?
The phrase, everything, all of that, like the phrase, like all of that and so much more has been officially ruined for me by the show Denver the Last Dinosaur, because that theme song has been like wedged into my brain for my entire life. I maybe saw like one episode of that cartoon, and then like I found it on like Retro Junk YouTube channel, you know, that YouTube channel where they just post old cartoon intros.
Yeah.
And so every time somebody says like this is that and so much more, in my mind it's just Denver the Last Dinosaur, he's my friend and a whole lot more.
This is why we're best friends, Meg.
Yeah, Denver the Last Dinosaur, show me a world I've never seen before.
So, Meg, how does this book open up?
So, we're in I almost said canteen, but no, it's
we're in the cantina.
Yeah, it's, cause you sad Americans, you eat your school lunches indoors.
We do. You know what? That's actually, no, we don't, Meg.
Australian kids just get, like, thrown out into the schoolyard like a bunch of like wild animals, and we just have to sit on the playground equipment because there's no tables.
So is this
anything.
Like the Lord of the Flies experience?
Yeah, it's like Lord of the Flies. Eating lunch in an Australian school is like Lord of the Flies. To become the boss of the playground, you have to beat another kid at handball, and then you become the boss. It's kind of like prison rules.
Oh no.
Tim Tams are handed around as currency.
You make grape juice in the toilet?
Yeah, you wanna sit on the top of the jungle gym and eat your sandwich. You gotta fight somebody. Anyway.
Meg didn't see a room until she was a woman.
Yeah, all Australian schools, all outside, all the time. Not true. So, we have Sabrina and Carly Beth, and they are talking about their Halloween costumes, because Halloween is coming up.
Yeah, because, you know, Halloween's just around the corner.
Yeah, and they're also talking about how nasty the school lunches macaroni and cheese is.
Well, to be fair, that's actually quite normal of it just being horrific and gross.
I mean, like, you know, eating inside in a structured environment may not be something that ever came to this country, but school lunches being nasty, I think, is a universal experience.
Well, yeah, they make it on the cheap, and though I went to a school once where every Thursday they had McDonald's and Domino's pizza.
What?
Yeah.
What kind of magical place? I'm so jealous.
It was a place in Glendale. I can't remember the name of the school, but yeah, that's what they used to do.
I cannot believe. Yeah, my school, the canteen sold, in air quotes, pizza, which was just an English muffin with tomatoes on it and then melted cheese over top.
Oh no.
It was sort of like half of a grilled cheese that gave up.
So they're talking about their Halloween costumes, and what is it all of a sudden?
Well, Carly Beth wants to be a witch for Halloween, but Sabrina's like, I thought you were scared of witches. And apparently Carly Beth is a big old fraidy cat.
Oh yeah, no, she's like a super scaredy cat.
She is. She's like, she gets teased a lot because she screams really loud when she's afraid. So, it makes her an easy target. And the funny thing is, when I was about this age of these characters, my best friend's name was Sabrina. And she, like the Sabrina in this book, had straight black hair. But she was like, personality-wise, she was Carly Beth.
Oh, so she was a fraidy cat?
She was so easy to, like, startle, and she would scream so loud and, like, flail her arms, and it was hilarious. So if you're listening to this, Sabrina, I'm sorry for what we did.
Yeah, what did you do?
Oh, we would just, like, sneak up behind her and, like, pinch her, and she would screech and slap us in the face.
You mean exactly what the bullies in this book did?
Exactly what the bullies in this book did.
So all of a sudden, you know, she lets out a scream as someone comes up from behind her, and it's good old, you know, Meg, reading this, I have a hard time reading sometimes, and I thought it was Steve and Chunk. I was like, oh, the Goonies reference? I'm like, oh wait, it's Chuck.
I would have loved it if his name had been Chunk. That would have been great.
So the entire book, I've been reading it as Chunk.
You were picturing Chunk from the Goonies?
Yeah.
Honestly, the most unrealistic part about this book is that she was, like, screaming in the cafeteria, and, like, a teacher didn't immediately come and tell her to shut up.
No, because this is an awful school. Remember later on? We'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to it later on, but remember...
Yeah, this
Steve
school
and
is
Chunk,
not a good school. It's a bad school.
So Steve and Chuck give her a sandwich because their moms made too many of them, and Carly Beth takes a big old bite. And then they start laughing.
And there's a worm. There's a worm in it.
Ew. No, they said it was a fake worm, though, a rubber worm.
But that's even worse, because it's like, at least a real worm, your body's going to be able to digest it. Like, eating a rubber worm, I'm pretty sure would make you sick.
What are you talking about, Meg? It actually turned out to be a real worm, because they got her on a second goof.
Oh, good goof, guys. Excellent banter. Excellent banter.
After this, they're going to give her Tide Pods.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Actually, that would be, so the Haunted Mask in 2018.
The Haunted Mask 2018. But, like, also, Carly Beth would eat the Tide Pod and then she'd have to go to the hospital.
Good goof, guys.
Excellent goof. Oh, so funny. So funny. Such banter.
As they run away in their hoverboards.
Oh, man. Like, I was about to say as they run away on their hoverboards vaping like mad, but then I realized that these kids are all like 11.
No, what are you talking about? They're like fake vaping. They have like their inhalers.
It's like a bubble vape. You know how you have those like bubble pipes? Imagine a bubble vape. That you blow into and then the bubbles come out.
You know, I was
but
thinking I
shaped
can
like
see
a vape.
this. Meg, we should patent this.
God.
This is a patent by Nightmare on Fear Street. Can't take this, guys.
And the great thing about that is as soon as we made it, vaping would stop being cool because we will have ruined it for everybody.
So Carly Beth is super mad because, you know, she had just eaten a real worm.
I mean, but worms are the food of the future.
Yeah, like Soylent Green.
I've never eaten worms, but you can buy, like, cured and flavored worms.
But, you know, Carly Beth decides, you know, I'm just going to go home after school. I have to work on my science fair project. And
which is, what's their science fair project, Zach?
They make the lamest science fair project in the history of
know.
lame. They make Meg, the solar system.
And these kids are supposed to be in, like, year 5 or year 6, and they're still, like, making the solar system out of pong balls? What am I saying? Ping pong balls.
What
Which,
pong balls?
First
They're
of
just
all,
all flat?
First of all...
Well, I can actually defend Carly Beth on that, because, Meg, you know what I did for my science fair one year?
What?
Why did the Titanic sink?
You know what I did for my science fair project when we had our science fair?
What?
I did a study into possible causes of spontaneous human combustion, which was basically just me wrapping sausages in loose fabric and then trying to blow them up.
Oh my, with your mind?
No, like I would put them in like different temperatures, and then I would like I would see like how hot they had to be to like spontaneously catch fire, and then I would like light them and see if the fire was able to like consume the entire sausage, and then I wrote up my findings onto a poster, and that was my science fair project. But that was in 8th grade. That was not in that was not in primary school. That was in high school.
You know, I think we would have been like the best friends.
I think we would have. If I had gone to a co-ed school and you had also been there, I think we would have been good friends. Except I think you're a lot younger than me, though. Okay, so Carly Beth goes home and she sees her mom, who has just come back from her sculpting class at the museum. And her mom has done something that I think is very weird.
What do you mean, Meg? Some people just make, porcelain clowns.
She's made a plaster of Paris model of her daughter's head.
To scale.
To scale.
Everything is perfect. It looks like her.
And she's upset that, she's like, oh, Carly Beth, why don't you like it? And Carly Beth says, quite understandably, Mom, it's really creepy.
What are you talking about? I made it out of love.
She did make it out of love, but,
But sometimes, love isn't the true passion.
Sometimes love, sometimes you have to just, make a plaster cast of the face of the person that you love and give it to them as a gift. I think it's just weird because I'm thinking, how did she...
How she did it? She either took a photo or she made a cast of her face while she was sleeping.
Did she take a cast of Carly Beth's head while she was sleeping? That's what I'm asking. That's what everybody wants to know. Did she go into Carly Beth's room with, silicon alginate and just, smush her face into it?
Yeah, that's what she did. Shh. No more tears, only dreams.
No talking now, only dreams. And also, she's made Carly Beth a duck costume.
Yeah, what are you talking about, Meg? When she opens up her door to go into a room, there's a duck. A real, live, walking, talking duck. Oh my god, it's Noah, her annoying brother.
Yep, and yeah, folks playing along at home, that's an annoying sibling, so take a drink.
So, we can assume this is the real R.L. Stine writing this book?
Yeah, Carly Beth quickly demonstrates that she truly is the easiest person to scare because all her little brother has to do is yell quack really loudly, and Carly Beth gets really harshly spookened.
She gets spooked. She gets shooketh.
She gets totally shooketh. Hashtag shook.
So she orders him out of her room because, all Noah wants to do is try on all of the things.
I don't know why Noah wants to have a duck costume. I don't know why anyone wants to have a duck costume.
I want a penguin costume. I want one of those inflatable T-Rex costumes. I'd never take it off.
Oh no, those are amazing. Those are baller. But a duck costume, this just sounds like a very uncomfortable duck costume because it's covered in real feathers and they keep falling off.
It's a beautiful duck costume, but her mom tried. First she tried sewing, then she made a cast of her face. So, weird family.
They are you get the impression that Carly Beth's mom they don't have a lot of money because Carly Beth's mom they were at the mall and Carly Beth saw the duck costume and said, "Oh, that's kind of a funny duck costume," and Carly Beth's mom made one for her. So you get the feeling that the mom's very DIY because maybe they don't have a lot of money.
Well, we never see the dad, so that's a possibility.
Yeah, the dad's probably out of the picture.
So,
which is interesting because a lot of these Goosebumps, because a lot of these books that we read, sort of there'll be a character where everybody else is oh, he's poor, he doesn't have money. Oh no, and the protagonists are usually very middle class, but Carly Beth seems a little bit more blue collar than the rest of them.
I mean, that would make more sense in the context of this book as well, of her being a free cat, but. So the next day, she has her big ol' solar system, including Pluto. This book was written in the 90s.
Oh, the 90s.
Oh, a simpler time. They're all made out of ping pong balls and stuff, and they bring it to the auditorium.
All of them are made out of ping pong balls. What about the ones that are real mad big, like Jupiter? When you traditionally you do a science experiment like this,
use
or
basketball.
A science project like this. Yeah, you use a basketball for Pluto, a tennis ball for the Earth, and a ping pong ball for Pluto. And then everything else in between is various sizes of...
I'm blowing a kiss to Pluto right now. You're still out there.
Blowing a kiss to the Curiosity rover as well.
Oh, the one that sings happy birthday to itself every day.
That is the saddest thing in the world. Honestly. That is so sad to me. Just no one's up there.
So during the science fair,
yeah,
good old Chuck and Steve, they somehow have the good partners, and like, oh no, our tarantula escaped. Our deadly venomous tarantula. And all of a sudden, Carly Beth feels...
I didn't think tarantulas had that much venom.
They did.
Because, like, don't people keep them as pets?
Yes, they do. They're like the most harmless things in the world. I know that you live in Australia where everything can kill you, Meg, but to most people in America, they'd freak out.
I mean, like, I have no problem with really big spiders. Like, I don't mind the bird-eating spiders. I don't mind tarantulas, because at that size, it's a real animal. It stops being a bug.
So, so Carly Beth feels like a pinch on her leg, and she starts freaking out because what if the tarantula's on her? And she starts freaking out.
Oh, no!
She starts flailing her arms and starts hitting, science fair experiments like a volcano. And, oh no, her solar system, her whole world's crashing down in front of her.
Yeah, she, like, flings her leg out and kicks over her own science fair project.
And, like, everyone starts laughing, including the teachers.
The teachers in this book are awful, and also, like, what is the curriculum for this? Because you've got a couple of kids are like, I made
a computer. Someone made a computer.
I made a computer. This kid made a computer, and then also, in our little bit of like,
and then another kid also made like a robot arm, like.
Yeah, and I was just gonna point this out. Okay, her name first of all is Mary Sue, which is appropriate given that she's clearly a genius compared to the rest of her peers. Also, she's Mary Sue Chong, so a little
Dr. Sue Chong.
Yeah, but also like a little smattering of oh no, this is kind of racist.
Oh no.
Like, the Asian one is the one that could build a robot. Yeah, sure, buddy.
Yeah, but Steve Jobs built the computer.
Yeah, like, this little Steve Jobs kid, Martin Goodman. Yeah, so I'm confused about, like, what the age group of this science project is, because, like, half of the kids are like, I've made a volcano out of paper mache, and I've filled it with vinegar and bicarbonate soda, and it's gonna blow up. And then, like, oh, I made a model of the solar system. And then there's
Martin. I made a computer, and also has
Martin over here. Like, I have made my own computer. And then this girl, like, I have made a robot arm, and I've programmed it to pick up a cup and wave at people, which is something that like robots now can't even do.
And then they're like, we should form a company. I think we should call it Skynet.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this truly is the prequel to the Terminator books, like those two kids. And then the guy that made the mask is the one that, like, designed the human suit for the Terminator.
Oh, no! Oh, my God, we're writing, actually, a good version of Terminator Genesis. Oh, my God.
The haunted mask, you mean Terminator, the haunted mask.
Do. And then, like, the Goosebumps music starts playing. Oh, my God. So then Carly Beth makes a pact. She's going to scare the living bejesus out of Steve and Chuck.
You can keep calling him
I'm
Chunk.
just going to call him Chunk. I don't care. He's Chunk.
That could be our fanon nickname for him. He's Chunk.
He's Chunk. She's going to get revenge on them. So that day, she goes back home and grabs all of her money in
her
the
life
whole world.
Savings, like all her pocket money that she saved up her entire life, and it's guess how much?
It is $1,000.
No, it's $30.
Wow! Actually, in the 90s, that's like a
yeah. In the 90s, that actually meant something.
It meant something. Here, it's like I don't think you can buy a Halloween mask for that.
No, you cannot. Like, especially not in Australia.
So she, like, runs to the nearest party store. Luckily, Party City was closed at that time. She goes to
this new mysterious party store that just opened up conveniently.
Yeah, and it's also named Needful Things for some weird reason. Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Needful.
So she walks in, and there's just a bunch of insert, IP here. There's a Freddy Krueger mask. There's a Mr. Spock mask. Yeah.
Oh, no, it doesn't say that it's Mr. Spock. It could be... Oh,
it could be Mr. Spock, or it could be a Ferengi, for all we know.
Yeah, it could be a Ferengi. I was imagining a Ferengi, because, like, a Vulcan is just a human with a bad haircut and pointy ears.
Yeah, I guess, a yellow alien with, like, pointy ears. I think that's more like a Ferengi.
Yeah.
Or it's a Captain Kirk mask. It's like the one they use in Halloween. Like, Too simple.
She's like, no, this is not scary enough. This will not do.
But the creepy guy who just has the most aesthetic look possible. He wears a cape.
Yeah, he wears a cape and black contact lenses all the time. And she's like, I bet he doesn't dress like that all the time. You're wrong, Carly Beth. He does. I know him personally.
They're called goths. He's like, I just think of like the goths from the IT crowd.
Yes, I was imagining Richmond, basically.
Oh my god. And he's like, can I offer you a fine gorilla mask? It's kind of scary. And she's like, no. And they start getting into a conversation about the mask.
She was like, gorillas are played out. Gorillas are too pedestrian. I need something truly, truly scary.
And like he gets like a phone call, so he goes in the back, and Carly Beth
goes into the back room with like the forbidden secret masks that are too hot for TV.
And they're all like horrific, they sound like something that Trick or Street Studios, not sponsored, would make.
Yeah, they sound very, very creepy. And I don't know if you ever had the experience of being a kid going into a costume shop and seeing a mask that was just like, haunted
oh yeah,
you.
no, every Halloween we would always go, and I remember there were so many, like, I remember like the like alien ones they had, and like these, my dad would always get a mask. I always wanted to get a costume.
My mask experience was one time I went into a Halloween store. I don't know, was it a Halloween store or was it just like a costume shop? I think it was one of those two. This could be all of my memories blur together. I never know like what country any of my memories took place in. This is probably when I lived in Virginia, though.
No, it's just Pandora.
Yeah, it's Pandora. It's magic. So I went into this store and they had this like scary zombie Easter Bunny mask that I still think about a lot because one time, like when I was like 16 or 17 years old, I had like one experience of sleep paralysis. And for some reason, like, you know how when you get sleep paralysis, I don't know if you've ever had this, Zach, but like some of the listeners might know this. You know how when you get sleep paralysis, like your dreams bleed into real life because you're not quite awake, but you're not really sleeping either?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like things get just inserted from your subconscious into life. When I was having this sleep paralysis experience, for some ungodly reason, my brain decided to put in like the suggestion that there was a scary zombie Easter Bunny that looked like this mask that I saw when I was like 8. And ever since then, I can't do scary Easter Bunnies. Like, I see it and I just like think, oh god, he is here to get me.
Oh no, Meg. It's coming to
so
get
that was
you.
And it's this very specific zombie Easter Bunny mask that has like solid blue eyes and really big teeth, and it's kind of scraggly and ugly, and I hate it. It's bad.
I think one of my favorite memories was going into a costume shop looking for a costume with my mom, and we took a wrong corner looking at the costumes, and it was almost like something out of a sitcom because my mom just was freaking out because they had all the inappropriate costumes.
Oh.
And it was just the funniest thing because I was like, I don't really care. And she's like, oh my god. Oh no. I think like the best way to put it is just all like the super sexy costumes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was in the States recently, I went to a mall and I was just like, I went back to stay in my old hometown in Virginia because my mom was going to go visit her friend. And so we stayed at this hotel. And then I walked to the mall from the hotel, and I went into this mall, and for some reason, this mall didn't have a Hot Topic, which, from what I've experienced with American shopping malls, is highly unusual. Like, usually I hate Spencer's just because of how they smell.
Well, they smell like what you would imagine the inside of a condom smells like.
Yeah, they smell like the inside of a condom. That's the best description I've ever heard in my life for how a Spencer's Gifts smells. But I went into the Spencer's Gifts and I saw this like woman with her 2 kids, and the oldest one couldn't have been like 7 years old, and the little one she was carrying, so he was probably like 2 or 3. But they got to the section of the store where they keep all of, like, the dragon-shaped incense holders and, like, the geodes and stuff. And then the boy takes one step further, and he looks at a shirt that's got the F word on it, and she's like, okay, this is as far as we go. And then she just grabs him and turns around.
Oh, that's kind of exactly what happened with Carly Beth, because all of a sudden, like, she, like, starts looking at the masks, and she's like, I'm gonna pick one. And she picks one, and she turns around.
And it's the one from the cover, and it's basically, like, calling to her.
Yes, it's almost like shimmering and stuff, and she turns around, and it's the creepy old guy, and he's like, "What are you doing back here? I knew I shouldn't have let people back here. How dare I keep the back door open?"
These are the secret, spooky, ultra scary masks.
And he won't sell it to her because they're too scary. They'll frighten too many people.
Even though she has 30 whole US dollars.
And I'm pretty sure those would be like $100 masks.
Oh, yeah.
But he's like, come with me. I'll give you a good deal on a gorilla mask.
And
Because remember, the store was closed, and she's just being an inconvenience to him.
She's being that person that shows up 5 minutes before closing and goes, I'm just looking, and then they just stay there forever.
For some reason, he's like, okay, ooh, is that $30 I see here? Should I warn you that it's a terribly demonic mask that if you put it on, it will stay on your face forever? $30, though.
Yeah, I know.
Man.
It's like...
The lesser of two evils here.
The lesser of two evils. Cursing a child forever. Because guess what? The customer's always right.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I love that. Just Zack softly with lots of feeling. No.
So he takes the money, and she takes the mask, and she immediately puts it on her face and leaves the store. And she feels powerful.
She feels so powerful, and you know what she's gonna do to test how scary it is?
She's gonna fight.
She is gonna give her brother a big spookening.
She's gonna make him shooketh.
She is gonna do him a frighten.
Oh my god. So she goes home, and, like... I like how they describe it, she sounds different, she just feels more confident in herself, and she, literally roars. And she scares his brother so bad that if this was, a more of an adult book, he probably would have peed his pants.
Yeah.
And I still think pee jokes are funny, so he peed his pants.
Yeah, let's say that he did, because, let's face it, he's 8?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then, he's so... scared that the mom comes in and...
So Carly Beth doesn't want her mom to see, her wearing the mask, because she did just spend $30 on a mask. So what she does...
Yeah, and she's trying to take it off, but it won't.
Well, I mean, it's just really sweaty. You know how latex is sometimes. You just, sweat it off.
I mean...
And what she does is something very sinister. She takes the plaster head with her.
Yeah, so she's going out to go trick-or-treating, and she's like, this costume is missing something. I cannot just jump out of the bushes wearing this mask alone. I gotta amp it up. I gotta, amp up my scariness. So what she does is she gets the plaster head, puts it on an old broom handle, and carries it around.
That is horrific. This is where, Lord of the Flies comes out of.
Oh, this just reminds me of when I was a teenager and my high school did a production of Macbeth. Actress that we had playing Macbeth, she got a cast of her head made in gelatin, and we did stick it on the end of a pole and cover it in fake blood, and at the end of the play, after Macbeth gets killed, we have the actors playing the I forget the name of the guy that kills him. It's Macduff? I think it's Macduff. Yeah, and he comes out with basically her head on a stake, and it looked so realistic. It was excellent.
Oh my god, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But just imagine,
it was great.
The one thing is, but it doesn't even look like a person, it's just plaster.
Yeah, but still, it's she's a child.
Yeah, I guess so.
She cannot afford a high quality latex cast of her head.
So she starts walking downtown, and she starts seeing more product placement. I mean costumes, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, some more Freddy Cougars. What do we see now? We just see a butt ton of Harley Quinns.
Yeah, there would be a lot of Harley Quinns, a lot of Pennywises, a lot of Batmans, Spider-Mans, Wonder Womans,
Captain Americas.
Oh, many Captain Americas. Just any of the superheroes.
And then we have that one kid that's clever and thinks he'll dress up as I'm a homeless person, and it's just a 30-year-old guy who just wants candy.
Yeah, did I tell you what my favorite costume from Halloween this year was?
What was it?
That kids came to my door. There was a couple of kids that were they were probably 15, and actually there were 3 of them, and they came to my door dressed as, jars. And one of them was peanut butter, one of them was jam, and one of them was Vegemite.
That kid can go to jail.
The Vegemite one? Is that too spooky for you? Is that dredging up war flashbacks?
It's too spooky. You can go to... I'm looking at my Vegemite, Meg. I'm looking at the can of Vegemite you gave me, and I've just broken out into a cold sweat.
I'm the devil. That's my secret.
It's my kryptonite, Meg.
I am glad that I found your weakness.
Oh god, that's actually really adorable. Though I think my favorite one that I saw my favorite one that I saw this year was this kid. He dressed up as Poe Dameron, but he was Edgar Allan Poe.
So he had like a mustache.
Yeah, and he had like a raven on him.
Oh, that's so adorable.
I just wanted to like steal that kid and be like, yes, you are a smart child.
I love when kids do like kind of pun costumes like that.
So Carly Beth's going around town and she sees Sabrina and she's dressed as Catwoman. My brain went to which Catwoman? It has to be the Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman.
It has, aka like the best Catwoman for a Halloween costume because it's very cool looking with all the stitches and stuff.
So she's dressed up.
I don't know. Michelle Pfeiffer and Eartha Kitt are tied for my favorite Catwoman of all time. Like, Eartha Kitt in the 60s Batman series was on fire, and then Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns, also on fire. Those are my two favorite Catwomans.
So then Carly Beth actually spooks her really bad, and she gets shooketh so bad that, like, she still goes to therapy till this day.
Oh, probably, I mean.
It was just so spooky scary.
And she's scaring all these kids, as well. Like, she passes by these kids.
But Meg, she's got a hit list. Nowadays, you can't have a hit list, but then... in the 90s, she had a hit list. She knew who she wanted to spook. She wanted to spook Steve and Chunk. How dare they?
Yes. But she's still like, this is the scene. She sees two boys just walking around.
And she thinks it's them. She
thinks that they're Steve and Chunk, but she stays committed to the role.
She stays committed to the role, and she hides, and she scares them. And I think they're Ghostbusters, actually, if I remember correctly. And...
no, one of them is a clown.
Oh, one of them is Pennywise, and the other one's a hobo.
Yeah, these are the kids that are on the cover, I think. The clown and the hobo. I think they're the ones on the cover. But the hobo kid actually does look like the Green Hornet on my cover, so, like, clearly this illustrator doesn't know what a hobo looks like.
Or was it that the intention?
Oh, dun-dun-dun-dun. I mean, technically a hobo can look like anybody, but, like...
or maybe he just thought that the Green Hornet movie with Seth Rogen was trash.
That's a deep cut.
Shots fired.
That is a deep cut, Zach, because I don't think anybody remembered that movie until you mentioned it just now. I think I've got it on Blu-ray, but I have never once watched it.
But Meg, then the scariest thing happens.
What?
Their mom comes.
Oh no, not the mom!
I just imagine like Jurassic Park. This is a cup of water. You just hear like bouncing up and down, and you just see this mom. In my brain, I thought of like she's got like the mom cut and the mom jeans, and
the mom hair and the mom jeans and the mom sunglasses,
and she's wearing flip flops.
At the same time, I kind of imagine her being like in like the spandex pants.
Spandex pants, and no, she has like little cat ears on, and like she's like I dressed up as a cat.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny? Sometimes when there's trick-or-treating in my neighborhood, sometimes the parents will come and, like, a couple of times they have had glasses of wine with them.
I mean, why not? It's beyond belief, Meg.
Wine mom culture is wild.
Nice pop.
Nice pop.
But then the mom's getting, like, super angry. Like, how dare you scare my children on Halloween, you know, the night when people are supposed to scare children. But the mom's getting super angry. She's like, I'd like to speak to a manager. I mean, your parents.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Shout out to my friend Nicole, who says that all the time.
And she is, like, having none of it. And Carly Beth's like, just go away. And that just, like, that's the worst thing you could say to this woman besides calm down.
Oh. Never tell a woman to calm down because, that's like teasing a lion.
With meat sauce?
Yeah, that's like teasing a lion with meat sauce. If you tell a woman to calm down when she's angry, it will make her more angry. I can speak from experience. I have never once, like, not screamed at somebody when they've told me to calm down and been like, I am calm. What are you talking about?
So she's getting angry.
Or actually, no, my new favorite response to calm down is, you need to calm up. Get on my level.
Oh, it's so cold. But like the kids are like, Mom, let's just go. Like this isn't worth our time. Let's get more candy.
Yeah.
And they finally leave. And then Sabrina's like, wow, you're amazing. And she's like, thanks, fam. I'm sorry, that's 2018. Haunted Mask. So like, yeah, let's go get to another house. So they go to the next house, Meg, and it's the scariest house of all. Because the people at the door give him apples. So Carly Beth is mad. She's enraged. She's confident. And she takes the apple and throws it at the window. And the guy opens up a window and says, hey, why are you doing that? And they run away. Wow. Such an edge.
At least it wasn't an egg.
Oh my God, Meg.
At least it wasn't an egg.
It's just, she's such an edgelord. She's like Peter Parker in Spider-Man 3. She's gonna start dancing any second now.
Yeah.
And
the edgiest thing to do, throw an apple that's something that's not even going to break the window. At the very worst, it's gonna leave a stain.
Oh no.
Where it smushes.
So they go around and finally they spot in like the Terminator vision Steve and Chunk. And that's when Carly Beth is ready. She's on the prowl. And she...
Oh, you forgot about the part where she, like, screams at a little child that she'll eat them?
Oh, yeah, she'll eat them. And then...
She screams at, like, a 5-year-old, I will eat you!
That just sounds like something you would say, Meg.
I would never say that to a 5-year-old, but, I mean, maybe to a 15-year-old I'd say that.
Well, you just know something's wrong, something's up. And then she sees Steve and Chunk, and I just imagine Chunk's dressed like the kid from Monster Squad.
He's the one that says Wolfman got nards!
So I just like imagine like they're all dressed up as like the kids from Monster Squad.
Yeah.
And because that's such a superior movie. And she scares him, like she like spooks him so bad that like they run away. And they're like, wow, we did it. And she's like, Sabrina, we did it. And all of a sudden, like, Carly Beth kind of goes, like, psycho, like, Tommy was so angry, and, like, tries to, like, strangle Sabrina. And this is where it gets, like, okay, this is getting kind of weird now.
Yeah, this is where it starts to get freaky.
And it's like, oh, no. Oh, no. And it's like, I was just a joke. Come on, let's go home. So they go home. And Carly Beth told...
No, the scariest part in this to me is when she scares Chuck and Steve, and they're like, Carly Beth, is that you? And she doesn't respond, and they get really freaked out. She growls at them, which is like, and then they're just like, wait, they're like trying to figure out, like, is that actually Carly Beth, or is this just like some rando who's like some rando weird person who's trying to scare us? And she says, this is Carly Beth's head. This is Carly Beth's head. Poor Carly Beth didn't want to give up her head, but I took it anyway.
That is so metal.
Metal as heck.
Oh my God. And like they run away, like they had like pissed their pants as well, because they're super scared. Because she had like...
and they don't understand how she's making her voice sound like that, which I think is a good, like, creepy angle.
Yeah, it's so cool.
That's how you know that the mask is haunted.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. So they go to Sabrina's house, and their mom's like, oh, hey, guys, well, you go get your candy, and I'll eat it. And Carly Beth tries to take off the mask, because she forgot that she has the mask on. And, oh, it's not coming off, Meg. It's stuck.
Yep, which is... another horrifying element of this book. This book is very,
well, I mean, okay, so the reason why R.L. Stine wrote this book was because his son Matt actually got stuck in a Halloween mask.
Wow.
So that's where he came up with the idea of the haunted mask, was because his son got stuck in a haunted mask, literally. And like, this would make a good idea for a story. So she's like, Sabrina, help me with this, help me. And like, okay, wait a second, Meg, there's something wrong with the mask. What is it?
It's, like, melted into her skin.
Oh, my... There's no way to take the mask off. It is her face.
There's no seam. They look for the seam, but it's, like, fused to her skin. And I was thinking about this the other day. Like, how messed up would it be if, when they tried to get it off, they had just, like...
peeled her skin off?
If they'd been like, oh, the mask is, like, melted onto her skin, and then taken her to a hospital, and then they, like, cut the skin off her face. How messed up would that have been?
And it's, like, actually her face, so they couldn't have taken it off.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been, like... Oh, it's kind of like that movie Clown, if you know what I'm talking
Yes, I love that movie. I watched that recently. That movie's a lot of fun. That's sort of the haunted mask for adults.
Yeah. I don't know. Apparently, there's like the were-clown genre because that's an actual genre that exists.
What? But I do remember the movie Leprechaun 3, where the guy gets bitten by a leprechaun and turns into a leprechaun.
It's just like the were aspect of it, but yeah. So
instead of howling at the moon, do they like go on top of a hill and just like honk?
Yeah, just imagine like the shoes don't fit and they have to juggle everything. That would just be a terrible existence.
I'm imagining, like the classic shot in the werewolf movie where like the feet, like the claws like rip through the shoe. I'm imagining that, but it's just like another pair of shoes. No, it's just like another pair of shoes that's like bigger, ripping through the first pair of shoes.
Oh my god! And then like he tries to scream and like he just starts like throwing up like handkerchiefs.
And he tries to scream and he just like beeps.
So he tries to go to the hospital in his car. His car becomes like really small.
Oh my god. This is so funny. This is excellent.
Like we just need like a comedy version, not like a scary movie version, like a guy that turns into a supernatural clown.
I mean, honestly, you can fight me. Anybody listening to this can fight me on it, but empirically, clowns are always funny to me. So, like, the movie Clown to me was at least like 70% a comedy. Because the concept of clowns is just funny to me.
So Carly Beth does the most logical thing and she runs back to the store, but oh no, it's closed. I was expecting that it wasn't there anymore.
Yeah, that's what they usually do in stories like this.
Like it was never there to begin with.
No one else remembers it.
No, but she doesn't even bang on the door. The old man just comes down and is like, oh yeah, I knew you'd be back. I know I shouldn't have sold you that mask. Why? Because it's...
Why'd you do it?
He needed the money. He was hungry. He
needed that $30, that sweet cheddar.
Yeah. Has capitalism gone too far?
Yes.
Is this book written in Soviet Russia?
If it was written in Soviet Russia, then there'd be like a queue, like all the way down the block to get into the mask store.
Everyone gets haunted mask. Da, das Fredania.
Everyone gets same mask. You want to be vampire? Too bad. You are a gorilla. In Soviet Russia, all children are gorillas for Halloween.
And then there's the queue line for like the tank store where everyone gets their tank, and then
everyone gets a tank, and then the rations.
Oh god! Oh, and then everyone afterwards, after Halloween, everyone has to go work in the mines and steel production.
Comrade, steel production is down. I said, comrade, you must sleep on the ground.
Oh, I love that. Oh my god! So the guy's like, "How dare you? How dare you?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, the masks are all actually not masks. You're actually wearing a face." Because he turns.
You're wearing a real skin.
He turns to the camera. I was once scientist.
Like, so what happened with him? He had some kind of accident, and he developed like a better alternative to skin.
You know, Meg, I can actually tell you what he is, Meg, and it's gonna be the most obscure reference possible.
Oh boy, I'm ready to like double not get it, like even more than I have not gotten.
Meg, this man is Darkman.
Do you hear that sound? That's the sound of the air just like whooshing over my head.
So the movie of Darkman is Liam Neeson.
Oh no, I've heard of Darkman, I just don't know what it's about.
So the story of Darkman is Liam Neeson is brilliant scientist who develops a new synthetic skin, except it only works at night. During the day it dissolves. And while he's doing that, these goons come in and they wreck his lab and they literally blow him up and they give him like 8th degree burns, even if that was a possibility. So he makes new skin for himself and he can only survive at night. So it's all synthetic skin. And he fights criminals because he can take on their appearance because he can make new skin.
Wow.
It's one of the best superhero movies I've ever watched. And it's made by Sam Raimi. It's right after Evil Dead, too.
Yeah, I did know that.
But, yeah, so he is Darkman. I just had
no idea what Darkman was about. Yeah. It can only be removed. So the thing about this skin mask is that it can only be taken off once. And it can only be removed by a symbol of love.
So was it the first time she just loved herself so much that she was able to take it off? Or is it only like you get one chance and then you get another one, but you need to like really care about taking it off?
I don't think she's taken it off before.
Yeah, she did. She took it off the one time.
I think she's had it all.
Yeah, she took, remember the first time she had it with Noah? She scared Noah and she took it off and shit.
Oh, okay.
So I guess the first time she just loved herself so much.
Yeah, because she, I guess she wasn't, like, deep enough down the hole.
Kinda. But, so he's like, by the...
Yeah, you know what I think is weird about this book? Okay, so it's called The Haunted Mask, right? And the way that it gets taken off is very kind of supernaturally, but the explanation for it is that he's a scientist, so it's like,
They're living beings. I mean, it could be like a possession, so it's technically haunted.
Yeah, but it's like, it just seems like a kind of weird, like, line to walk between being sciencey and being spooky.
Well, he could be like a spider and say cheese and dine. He's actually a wizard scientist.
Dark wizard magic! I had forgotten about the dark wizard magic.
Dark wizard science magic, Meg. Don't forget about that. So, like, you see, like, that's why he wears a cape and stuff, Meg. He has his scientific wizard robes.
What if he is Spidey?
Oh my god, that'd be so amazing.
Oh, the Say Cheese and Die cinematic universe.
Oh my god, we're like making it. So she like goes in the back and all of a sudden all like the faces start to come to life and she runs away as they literally they chase her by floating.
This is kind of silly. Like,
it's a little silly.
And the fact that it's... Okay, I'm gonna read this because this made me laugh really hard. The heads began to jabber in rumbling, deep voices, drowning out his frantic cries. They murmured excitedly, making only sounds, no words, like a chorus of frogs. So I'm just imagining, like, frog noises. I'm imagining... I know it's supposed to be, like, the deep kind of croaking that they make, but I am imagining those, like, you know that video that's, like, 30 screaming frogs?
Yeah.
I'm imagining that. Just... just like a bunch of
Oh my god, no. So they start chasing her, and halfway down the street, she gets an idea. Like, there's only one symbol of love that's close to me. My parents are too far away, but the plaster head, that was a symbol of love.
Did you mean to sound like the alien from that one episode of Simpsons?
Yeah, love.
We bring you love.
Look, he wants to love and peace. Kill it. So she somehow was able to get back to the house and location where she had dropped the plaster head originally. And oh no, Meg, it's not there. But wait a second. There's just like a weird like
Chuck took it.
There's just like a weird camera pan that's like, oh wait, it's over here.
Jovial Bob back at it again.
What are those?
Wrong meme, Zach. Get with the times, you old man.
Oh yeah, I forgot. That was so 2014.
It's funny because Zach is like 3 years younger than me.
Well, you know, at work, people actually, my nickname is Old Man.
Old man Zach. I can see it.
So, she like takes the plaster head as the spooky, scary skeleton mask come out to get her. And she's like, the only thing I can do is put the plaster head over my mask, over my face. You know.
What?
Yo, dog. Like,
see, I was thinking that the plaster head was like a solid thing.
That's what I thought too. That would have made sense, but no, I guess not.
And also, were you about to say, yo, dog, I heard you like your face, so we put your face in your face so you can look while you look?
Yeah.
I love it.
So she puts it on her face, and it's almost like a Power Suit Gundam, like just combined. And all the masks start to attack her, but it doesn't quite work. And all of a sudden, she takes off the plaster head, because all the masks leave, and her face is back. Oh my gosh!
There was a like she's like feeling around, and she can feel the seam of the mask now, so she can take it off.
Oh my god! It's my face, my actual face. And she runs home, passes Slugworth, and she goes home. And then Noah's like, "You should really take that mask off," and she's mortified. What did the masks do to me? Was it like that episode of The Twilight Zone with the masks, where all the people become ugly?
No, it's the masks. Next chapter, it ends with, take off that mask, take it off, you're so ugly. No, Carly Beth screamed in horror. And then in the next chapter, it's like, oh no, I'm wearing the mask. And then she's not.
Yeah, because the joke is
her brother's just having a laugh.
Because apparently she's so ugly.
Yeah, classic little brother goof.
And she looks in the mirror and it's her beautiful face. And she goes to her mom. They have apple cider and chocolate. And she's like, have laughs. And all of a sudden her brother comes in. And she's like, hey, check out this cool mask.
And it's the mask. And Carly Beth looks at the camera and goes, oh no, here we go again.
It's like The Office. She just stares into the camera.
And then it's like Iris saying, da-da-da-da-da-da.
That was the haunted mask.
Oh no, that was the haunted mask. And indeed it was the haunted mask. And do you want to hear my Q&A with R.L. Stine for this book? Q&A with R.L. Stine. What were you for Halloween last year? Asleep. Haha. Oh, R.L. Stine, you kidder. Asleep. Actually, I let my friend Curly, the skeleton who lives in my apartment, handle the trick-or-treaters. Curly greets them wearing cool sunglasses, a skull tie, and a pair of Goosebumps boxer shorts. Funny, none of the kids stick around to shake his bony hand. If trick-or-treaters are courageous to knock on your door, what goodies do you put in their bags? Curly loves coffin drops and cockroach crunch bars, but most kids go for the regular candy bars and the Goosebumps books I hand out. Do you like to scare your friends when you were a kid? You're certainly good at scaring kids today. I never scared my friends because I was way too busy scaring my younger brother. Poor Bill. I told him if he didn't do exactly what I asked him to do, I'd hand him over to the monsters that lived in the attic. I told him scary stories knowing they would keep him up at night. Scaring Bill taught me how to be scary. So thanks, Bill.
Oh my god, he's horrific.
And then there's like a little profile of the haunted mask here, which has the audacity to show a picture of the original Tim Jacobus cover. Here's the thing we could have put on the cover, but didn't think was good enough for you, children of today. Anyway, so, first appearance, The Haunted Mask. Other appearance, The Haunted Mask 2.
There's a sequel?
Yeah. Anyway, do you want to hear about history's most hideous masks?
Besides my mirror face, yeah.
I like how that was supposed to be a self-drag, and then halfway through you realized, no, I love myself too much. I deserve better than this.
Yes.
Anyway, masks have been around since the earliest days of humankind. Some are used to entertain and celebrate, others are used to frighten and intimidate. Below are some of the more bizarre masks from around the globe. For thousands of years, the Balinese people of Indonesia have hung up masks of the ancient spirit Barong in their doorways. These masks feature bug eyes, bared fangs, and a stuck-out tongue. Why decorate your door with one of the world's most frightening masks? Because it's believed to scare away evil spirits. I've seen these. Have you seen masks like this? Because I feel like they're everywhere. Yeah. During the Middle Ages, German courts punished women who were blabbermouths by locking them into iron masks, featuring long tongues and big ears. Men who acted like pigs were forced to wear, you guessed it, iron pig masks. Well, I'm glad that they were, like, equal in their horrible punishments, because I have heard of the female one, but I had not heard of the male one.
Yeah, good old pig masks.
It's better than only torturing women, which is what I thought they did. I don't know. This is a book for kids. They may be conflating. War masks used to frighten enemies were found all over the ancient world. Some from the Ivory Coast feature bugged-out eyes to show anger and alertness, as well as a straight nose, which shows that a soldier will remain straight and true during battle. The Aztec civilization of centuries ago, masks hold very special importance. In Aztec high society, the dead were cremated with specially prepared masks made of fine stone and shells. Aztec soldiers would make masks out of the skulls of their defeated enemies.
Yes. I've seen some of these, and they're hardcore amazing.
I've seen those in museum. The Aztecs were an excellent and amazing group of people.
Yep. They rivaled the Spartans, but unfortunately smallpox.
Yeah. Oh, imperialism. Performed since the 14th century, traditional Japanese no theater has many different masks. These include masks of anger and masks of demons with horns and red faces. The most remarkable thing...
I've gone to a couple shows, and they're really cool to watch. I have never seen it.
I have never gone to no theater. I've never gone to kabuki theater. I am very uncultured when it comes to Japanese theater. Dia de los Muertos... Oh no, I was still reading the one about no. Okay. The most remarkable thing about these masks, they can show many types of emotion depending on the actor, how the actor holds his head. That's pretty cool. Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, is a Mexican holiday that traces its roots back thousands of years. During this celebration, sometimes people wear colorful skull masks to honor their dead.
Good old candy skulls.
Yes. I still have not seen Coco.
That's okay.
Yeah. I feel bad because
It's still,
it
I
looks
still
like
think it's a
movie
better
that I would
movie
like.
than Book of Life.
The Book of Life was a little bit cheesy.
I actually think this was much better in an interpretation for Dia de los Muertos, because I could just talk about this movie for days, but I'll just leave it as it's more of a respect to the dead than making it a spectacle of the dead.
Yeah.
That's the best way to put it. So
yeah, Coco seems to be like a very sincere film, but Book of Life was a little bit corny and cheesy, and
it was like it was like the Mexican version of Corpse Bride.
Wait, are you saying that about Coco or
No, Book of Life?
Yeah, whereas Coco seems to be like the Mexican equivalent of Spirited Away.
Yes, that's the best way to put it. Yeah.
That's like from the trailer gives me like real Spirited Away vibes.
That's pretty much it. It was,
except instead of it being just like spirits, it's like proper dead people.
Yeah.
Not just like spirits as in like, I don't know, sort of
no
like
one's
fairy,
evil. No one's truly
type
evil.
things.
So that's the moral of the story.
No.
So
yeah. Which is similar to Spirited Away. Yeah. So what did you think of The Haunted Mask, Zach?
I love this book. It made me feel so much like a kid again when it came to Halloween and thinking of how. I think the last time I've had these feelings is, I know I say this a lot, but going to Disneyland during Halloween and sitting by the Halloween tree in Frontierland it just gives me like this warm feeling of just thinking about Halloween in the way of it's the day where you get to dress up, you get to be someone else before cosplay was a thing, and then watching monster movies. I remember that was Halloween was the first time a long time ago I actually did trick or treating up until I was like 16, and I had some group of friends, so it was fine. But just remember like seeing Trick or Treat and just watching horror movies and just staying up until like 3 or 4 in the morning talking to friends and stuff. And I don't know, I think my perception of Halloween's kind of changed because now it's just like going to parties or, going to events now. Well,
yeah. I mean, like, as somebody who doesn't have as strong memories of celebrating Halloween, because I only ever did it like a few times when we were living in the States, but this still like gave me like a lot of real memories of childhood. Like there's a part where Carly Beth calls Sabrina on the phone, and she picks up the phone, and it's like, and she like is walking around the house with the phone on her shoulder, like hunched up to her ear.
I remember that.
That is something that I used to do that all the time. Like, I can remember when we first moved into this house, we only had one phone. And this was before I got my first mobile, and we only had one phone, and it was a corded phone. So I would sit at the kitchen counter with the phone up to my ear, and I would like have it on my shoulder, like talking to my friend Sabrina, funnily enough, like same name, sitting in the cafeteria and like talking about how bad the macaroni is, and like the kids scaring each other and like wrecking the science fair project. This book. We haven't had a lot of Goosebumps books that have the kids, like, interacting with a lot of other kids. Like, in, like, a school environment. This really, like, just captures the feeling of being a kid in a way that a lot of the other ones don't. Like, I can see myself as Carly Beth, whereas the other Goosebumps protagonists, I'm like, this is a child. This is not me. This is not someone I can relate to.
Especially, like, the villain in this isn't an adult like most of them. It's actually the kid himself. It's kind of like them dealing with... It's like them dealing with their own fears, and especially I think the main part, like, oh my god, you can do art history and I can do English stuff, is when she puts on the masks, because you're concealing your own self, in that, she becomes more confident in herself.
It's sort of like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
That's the whole point of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. If you give your temptation to evil, you have a much more fun time than being respectful and proper.
And also, like, it's the whole thing of, like, anonymity as well. Like, nobody knows that Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde are the same person. And also, like, people don't know that it's Carly Beth under that mask. So she, like, says things that she would never normally say. and does things that she would never normally do.
Yeah, no, this reminds me, there's a part in The Name of the Wind where there's a part in the book where they have like the celebration and everyone wears masks and everyone's told don't go outside because literally everyone just commits crimes because it's just, you have the anonymity and
it's like the Purge.
It's
like all the guys with the masks in the Purge.
Yeah, it's kind of, that's what it is. It's like everyone gets, I like that about, because at the end of this book, she becomes a more confident and like well-rounded person. It's like, oh yeah, I guess my parent does love me, and I guess it's not that bad.
My mom loves me, and people appreciate me for what I am, and I don't have to like try so hard to be like scary and hardcore.
No, I can be who I am, and I think that's such a great message compared to like, guys, it was the camera.
Yeah, it's a great message for kids, just to like there's no shame in like not being like edgy and cool. You can be chicken. Like for me, I still can't get over soaring over California or soaring over the world, what's called. I tried getting onto it recently and I couldn't get onto it because I have a fear of heights. So I'm like, I remember when I was a kid and we went on a class field trip to Canberra and we went to this like kids museum in Canberra called Questacon, and they have this giant slide that's just like straight down drop, and then you hit the slide and you kind of like get flung over, and it's like, it sounds really unsafe, but like they still have it, so obviously no one's ever died on it. And I remember like trying to get on it and crying, and then like going back later and just being like determined to do it, to just be like,
it's more or less, this book's about facing your fear.
Yeah, like, I feel like, yeah, this book is about conquering your fears. It's about learning to be yourself. It's about, like, not giving into peer pressure as well. Like,
and getting into the Halloween spirit.
Yes. And, like, how Halloween can still be fun even if you're not, like, an edgelord kid who's not scared of anything.
Yes. Speaking of that, we actually have a listener question for this week.
Ooh, yay.
What was your favorite Halloween costume? Any funny stories of it getting stuck? So from Chris Conwell, from the Mad Scientist podcast, friend of the show. Cogs.
Our good friend, Chris Cogswell. Yeah.
I went as Gambit from X-Men once, using my mom's trench coat and a ripped stocking for a face mask. Damn, was I ever cool.
Is that what he said, or is that you saying that?
That's what he said, and he actually, his mom found the photos, and they're posted on the Twitter, and we're going to show them later, and it is the most adorable thing. From OGW Nostalgic Reviews, when I was 5, I was a purple crayon. The tip of the crayon was colored in paper plate made into a cone. The body was this really thick poster board rolled up into a tube with arms and holes cut out. And no forethought went into this because I could not sit down in this thing.
Adorable. That's adorable.
There's also a photo of this one, and it's so adorable. And then she also said, "Oh, I didn't realize you guys were doing the haunted mask. I have a mini story more relevant to that. When I was really little, my dad bought me the super scary old man mask. I mean, this thing made me cry. I was so scared of it. If I wore it to preschool, because at least if I was wearing it, I didn't have to look at it, So expect all my classmates to be scared of this thing as I was, because, it's terrifying, truly. However, when I got there, I was literally, everyone laughed at it. Apparently, what I thought was super scary old man looked like a funny old man mask, and everyone else, I was so mad because I guess I was the only one who was scared of it. That experience scarred me for life, I swear." So, from Jude DeLuca, a couple of years ago, I wore this Court of Owls mask. It's related to the Batman story. And
yeah, I know of Court of Owls.
I love Court of Owls. And on Halloween, I just walked around in the neighborhood looking at certain people as they walked by, pointing at them. It really freaked everyone out. One girl asked me to scare her friends.
Is there a follow-up story? Tweet at us.
Amateur13 wrote, "I actually dressed up as Edgar Allan Poe one year. One of my favorite costumes." Aww.
Nice.
What was your favorite Halloween costume, Meg?
I think that, like, most times I dressed up for Halloween, I was either a vampire or I was the Bride of Frankenstein.
I have a really embarrassing one.
Oh, boy.
When I was about 5 or 6, so this was early, like, literally 2000, and The Phantom Menace had come out.
Were you Jar Jar?
No, I was obsessed with Pod Racer Anakin Skywalker. I thought it was the coolest thing.
Bless. That's so cute.
And I would dress up as Anakin Skywalker even after Halloween. I would.
That's adorable.
I love that. I just think about it. Like I actually think The Phantom Menace is one of like those movies that just has a special place in my heart. But
Same.
terrible movie,
It's
but
not
I love it in a bad way.
It's not so bad that you can't watch it. Unlike Attack of the Clones, that movie's trash. That movie is hot garbage.
So, are you ready for a joke from Jovial Bob Stein?
Hit us with the joke.
Did you hear the joke about the abominable snowman?
No, it didn't.
Never mind, it'd probably leave you cold.
Wow.
Throwing some shade there, Jovial Bob Stein.
That was a reach. That was a reach for a punchline.
That's awful. So, Meg, guess what we're reading next week?
What are we reading next
We are reading The Mind Reader, a Fear Street book by R.L. Stine.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
We're getting ready for. This one looks promising. It looks supernatural.
Oh, okay. I'm tired of these, like, who was the killer? I'm tired of these, like, murdery ones. I want something that's, like, properly supernatural from Fear Street.
We'll find out. It could be your boyfriend.
Who is it?
It could be Oki. He could be back from the dead.
God damn it! I had purged Oki from my memory.
He could be back, Meg. He could be the one dressed in the Easter Bunny zombie costume.
No!
It's gonna happen.
If he was, I would still punch him. I would beat him with a stick.
So we actually have a listener question email. Ooh, we love when you get these.
Good.
From Scarlett. Hey guys, I love your guys' show. Meg and Zach are totally spooky awesome. Aw, thank you.
Aw, yay.
If you could pick a time and place you'd want to live in, what would it be? Ooh, it's kind of hard.
I have an answer for this one.
I feel like for me, it would have to be, I'd have to say the 80s. It'd have to be the 80s in LA.
I feel like I have two answers for this.
What would it be, Meg?
My sort of like realistic answer is London in the late 70s.
Ooh.
And my kind of like, I know that this would turn out horribly, but I can still dream, goddammit, answer is Central Europe in prehistoric times. I would like to fight saber-toothed tigers, be like a Neanderthal woman with big strong arms and like running around with spears and stuff. I feel like that's like an ultimate power fantasy of mine, but I know that if I did that really, I would be trampled to death by a rhino or something and I would die at like 22.
My God, Meg, this is like, I just had to stop myself from like laughing, crying, because if that doesn't scream you, Meg, like that is like the best answer you could possibly.
It's like I want to just be like Raquel Welch in 1 million BC.
Oh my God,
she's a role model for everyone. But honestly, in that time period, yeah, like I would have died. So like my realistic answer is London in the 70s.
For me, in like the 80s, just because it's like, I know it's like people like romanticize the 80s, but I kind of like it because the 80s is like, for me, it's just pop culture, really. I look at stuff by pop culture rather than like if it was a good time to live.
Oh, me too. Like, I'm totally choosing London in the 70s based on entirely on like what the music scene was like then.
Yeah, so it depends, like, for me...
Like, that was the heyday of every band that I like that's not, like, a modern band. Like, The Damned, Susie Sue and the Banshees, The Cure,
The Smiths? Wait.
I can't name any... The Smiths were a little bit after, I think. But, like, still, if I was, like, my age now in the 70s, I would still be around for The Smiths. To be cool.
Yeah.
Like, the problem with my life is that everything that I think is cool stopped being cool a long time ago. Like, being a goth, not cool anymore.
Meg, the funny thing I was going to ask you, like, would we have been friends in the 80s? I feel like I would have been, like, the nerd, like, in the Breakfast Club. Like, I feel like that would just be my look.
Yeah, you would have been that guy in the Breakfast Club, and then I would have been, like, what's her name? Allie. I would have been, frickin' Allie Shady's character.
No, I feel like you'd be like the one girl from The Craft. So I feel
yes!
like
I would be Fairuza Balk in The Craft. But that's the 90s. That's not the 80s. But, like,
no, I mean, like, but so, like, that look.
I would definitely 100% be Fairuza Balk's character in The Craft. Or actually, no, I would be Lydia from Beetlejuice.
Oh my god.
That's my favorite movie. Lydia is #life goals. And when I was in Paris, the hotel concierge at the hotel that I stayed at actually called me Lydia. And I never felt so validated in my life.
Where can they find you, Meg?
You can find me online at Meg Tuden on Twitter. That's at MEGTUTEN. And I'm also sodasodabanana.tumblr.com. And you can find my Nightmare on Fear Street merchandise at my Redbubble store, which is redbubble.com/people/MEGHANTUTEN. And I actually just got my Nightmare on Fear Street mug the other day, and it's an excellent mug. And I just put a picture of it on Instagram, but I'll also put it on Twitter. I would encourage everybody to buy one because they're great. They're great mugs. And Redbubble is actually an Australian-owned company. So if you want to support my people and my country, buy from Redbubble.
Normally we don't ask for money and stuff, but if you do purchase anything, we'd love to see pictures of it and all that money.
Oh, please, please, if you buy anything from my Redbubble store, please tweet at me a picture of what it looks like because I love... Like, I have never seen any of my, like, Redbubble products that I haven't bought for myself. I have never seen what they actually look like. Nobody's ever sent me a photo, and my day would be made.
Especially, like, all this stuff would go right back into the show, support us getting some new mics, keeping the lights on, that type of stuff, especially, like, our Patreon. So if you want to send us money on Patreon, we'd super appreciate it. That's patreon.com/nightmareandfearstreet.com. So if you want to follow our show on Twitter, you can follow us at NightFearStreet. If you want to email the show and send us more messages like Scarlett, thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it. We love when
we love you.
We love you. Thank you so much. You can email us at nightmareandfearstreet@gmail.com. Well, I think that's it, Meg. I'm Zach.
I'm Meg.
Meg, look at this cool mask that I just put on. I can't breathe.
Oh no, it's fusing with your skin.
Oh wait, that's how I've always looked. Stay
spooky.
Bye.
Bye.